Hello and welcome to this edition of Startup Talk. I have with me a pair of co-founders, or rather co-founders, who've created an Indian microblogging platform that's been the talk of the town lately, Koo. Let's welcome the co-founders of Koo, Aprameya and Mayank. And Aprameya, some of you may know, was the co-founder of cab-hailing company Taxi for Sure earlier, and one of the winners of the Atmanirbhar Bharat App Innovation Challenge last year. Gentlemen, welcome to Startup Talk on Financial Express. If I may start, why the name Koo?
So, when we started thinking about giving a voice to everybody in India, irrespective of language, the first thought that came was, what's an emotional animal, that actually defines the whole sense of spreading message, right? And obviously, bird comes to mind, and we wanted it to be a happy bird, and that's why we gave it a yellow color. So the yellow bird is about a happy bird spreading good messages, right, amongst the community of India. And the word "koo" is basically a sweet sound that the bird makes. So we actually first thought "kuhu," but then it wasn't so easy to say "kuhu" every time. So we said, okay, let's cut it short and say "koo." Making it easier to say. So basically, that's the origin of the logo, the name, and the color of the bird.
Right, and y'all are a fairly new platform. I mean, it's been in the making, I think, for just about less than a year now. And to get this kind of traction in this shorter period of time, y'all experimented with another vernacular language platform before this, right? Vocal. So how did that transition come about?
Yeah, so Vocal is basically still catering to the opportunity of vernacular India, right? It's a question and answer platform where the answers are given in audio or video by people with domain expertise.
Right.
And, it deals with experts, and that has a lot of traction as well. We've crossed 25 million monthly users there. A lot of the experts on the platform express their interest for open expression, which means that they wanted to share their thoughts with their followers without the trigger of having been asked a question.
Right.
That's when we started thinking about open expression platforms. And one of the best methods to enable that is microblogging, because it's easy for the creator to create quick, crisp thoughts, and it's easy for the consumer who has a low span of attention. So that's when we started studying what's happening in Indian languages on existing microblogs in the world. And we studied Twitter, and we realized that there's very little creation and content available in Indian languages. And the truth of our country is that we're the only country which has the kind of language diversity that we have. We have hundreds of languages. We have over 50 languages with more than 1 million users. And when we studied what's happening on Twitter, we realized that there's very little content in these languages. And that's probably because that product was created for a global audience, for global languages. And India needs the Indianization of microblogging for it to become relevant for this country.
Yeah, but how are you dealing with the imagery around Koo? In the last 1 week, you'll have seen a huge surge in numbers. If I'm not mistaken, 4.2 million downloads. And we were supposed to speak a week ago. At that point of time, you were about 3 million downloads. So within a week, it's really surged. But how are you dealing with the imagery around Koo? There's this whole narrative that's going that Koo is government based. It's a mouthpiece for the government. And there's not that much of independence on the platform like people are seeing with other microblogging sites. How are you dealing with that imagery? Aprameya, you want to take that?
Yeah, so for us, we want to make sure that everybody gets a voice. Right? We are not, so our technology, our product doesn't understand, any kind of political leaning. We are both as founders extremely apolitical. People who know me in Bangalore know me as an entrepreneur, technologist, and product guy, right? And we're busy dreaming about the future, and we don't want to, anything for the development of the country is what we are pro for, right? So I think while there might be added color for various reasons, over a period of time, the platform itself will speak, for itself, because everybody will come, right? Because
Yeah, I mean, at the moment it's looking a little one-sided because I mean a lot of the government ministries are already on Coup, and in fact they are now making Coup as the first point at which they put out information before it even gets onto Twitter, which works well in your favor in terms of then obviously the others will come to get the information quicker. But what does this kind of so to speak, celebrity endorsement really do for Coup? I mean, you have the likes of Anupam Kher, you have the likes of Mr. like Ravi Shankar Prasad, you have so many celebrities, also certain controversial celebrities, let me put it that way, also on Coup. What does it really do for your image?
Every person in India follows different interests. The biggest interests are politics, cricket, Bollywood, other film industries, local issues. So Coup is, a place where India can unite. India can unite and come and talk to each other about various things. It doesn't have to be just politics, right? The government announcements on Coup are actually very, very relevant to the broader audience, right? So the English-speaking audience, may see it once in a while, but the broader audience of India is waiting for announcements from the government, right? They are the ones who truly want to engage with the government and make their lives better. Now, if Coup, because our vision is to enable Voice of India across languages, can take direct messages from the government to the users, that's great. If it can take direct messages from cricketers to the broader audience, great. If it can take direct messages from the celebrities that they follow, whether Bollywood or otherwise, it is great. So this is something that has not happened before, right? We've only seen the top 1% engaging with their celebrities that they follow. Now we're making the whole 100% of India, giving them the power to follow who they like.
Right. But, when the celebrities are there, obviously the audience is bound to follow. And you're also going to get the critics also coming on board. And at some point, it's going to become quite like what's happening on Twitter, where you'll have both sides, you'll have arguments.
Actually, not at all. As in, see, I'll tell you one more thing. Like, the English-speaking audience is, slightly more educated, right now, at this moment, right? So everybody feels like they know everything, right? Okay. All of us. I also sometimes go and argue with somebody because I have my own logic of how to think, and I'll say, okay, no, this one point that you said is wrong, right? Yeah. So we're very intellectual. Those conversations are very engaging, right? So that is one side. The broader audience of India is actually a lot more accepting and appreciating of other people's efforts, right? So that mood of India, which is, not captured in an English platform, will come out on Coup. We've made subtle changes in the product, which says, be kind. A small little statement like that while creating will actually make, if 100 people come and abuse somebody, that whole be kind will tone it down.
Okay.
Right? 100 out of the 100 people, 50 people might just say, I don't want to say it anymore.
Okay.
Because this is yeah.
But how are you technically set up to kind of take care of trolls or trolling that will probably follow at some point, and then it'll again come in with requests from the government or from others to block certain accounts? How are you technically set up to do that? I mean,
no, I'll just take this one question. So when it comes to certain things like harm to life. There is a community violence that can be generated because of something that somebody said. I think we are a company that is registered in India and bound by a law, right? And nobody wants anybody to be dying because of something that somebody said, right? We should respect the value for life in India, right? Yeah. So if it's just an opinion, you're fighting about, oh, okay, I think A, you think B, and you're having a healthy conversation. Yes, that is what we want on the platform, right? Healthy discussions is what we want on the platform. If it happens, yes, depending on the severity of what will happen offline, we will have to abide by the law of land, not a particular political party or anything like that. There will always be a voted in government.
Yeah.
Right? We are a democracy, and we will be guided by that one government to abide by the law. We are not going to be, taking against law decisions at any point in time.
In fact, just to touch upon that, you said it's a company registered in India, and last week there was this whole narrative that was there. I mean, some of it was, of course, fake news as well, in terms of the registration, in terms of your investors, and also with the data leak, which I guess you guys were already talking about at that point. How do you handle such insinuations?
I think as many people want you to succeed, some people don't want you to succeed as well, right? So we are registered in India. Our servers are in India. We are Indian founders. Yes, we had raised some small amount of money from Shunwei 2 years ago when Ku didn't even exist. Vocal as a platform. So, there are Chinese investors in so many companies still in India, right? As in, that's the past. Like, we didn't know, we can't predict the future, right? We had taken some investment. Now, given the scenario of how Ku is, and we understand the sensibilities, the Chinese investor has also politely agreed to exit. So
who's buying out Shunwei's stake in?
A lot of Indian investors.
Okay, we have a whole consortium of them coming in, and so let's just talk about the investment for a moment. You all raised $4.1 million from 314 Capital, Accel, Kalari, Bloom Ventures, and Dream, I think. So this is a whole bunch of investors that came in. Yeah. How do you plan to use this investment going forward? What are the key areas first where you'll be investing in?
Mike, you want to take that?
Largely be investing in the product, and we'll be investing heavily in vernacular languages and building technology on the platform.
Okay. And then comes the question of monetization. I mean, how do you plan to take the monetization journey forward in Ku?
There are various ways in which you can monetize a vibrant platform like Ku. The future for Ku is not going to look exactly like what you have seen happening on Twitter, right? It's going to be a different audience. It's going to be a much, much larger audience. Like I've said before, right? The Indian internet user base is going to hit 850 million users, right? A large part of these users, 75% of them will be vernacular, right? Our internet size is going to be double the size of the United States. We're going to be the second largest internet population in the world. So the scale that we're going to deal with is going to be very different from the scale that other folks have dealt with, right? Advertising is a very clear path to making revenues at scale, but we have lots of other ideas that we're not really ready to talk about right now as far as monetization is concerned. Having said that, there are lots of parties that really benefit from a platform like Ku, whether it is businesses, whether it's institutions, whether it is creators. Lots of parties would like to get some sort of traction from users, and there are lots of interlinkages. On each of them, revenues can be generated.
Okay. And what about global ambitions then? Because, I mean, the way I see Ku being set up, it's becoming, it's a very Atmanirbhar app, and for India, by Indians, all that. Do you think that's going to become like a very closed clubhouse? Do you think Ku can really get into the global space across the world, across geographies, across countries?
Yeah, absolutely. As in, we want to go deeper into India. That's not what has been cracked. As in, so far, it's not been cracked. As we said, the voice of India, irrespective of what language you speak, is our first primary goal. In that process, once we get a hang of that and we've set that in motion, we would like to actually go to countries which also have a primarily non-English population, right? Because that's what we've cracked in India. We want to take that playbook elsewhere. And finally, once we've cracked all the non-English heavy countries, we will definitely want to get into the English-speaking countries as well. So I think it's a step-by-step process. We'll want to do it one by one, not get too distracted. If you get distracted, you can't even solve the first problem, right? So I think it'll have to be one by one.
What about data policies? Because right now, since it's largely India oriented, and we still don't have a data law that has come in yet. But when you take it to Europe or elsewhere, you have to be compliant with the GDPR. How ready are you for something like that right now?
Yeah, well, you're right. You need to be compliant with GDPR, and which is why we're not in Europe yet. We've got a lot of interest from the diaspora there, and as tempting as it is, we've not opened it up there. As soon as we're compliant, we will. We have great technology to ensure data privacy, to ensure security. At no point of time does the app ask for permissions that are not being used for the benefit of the user. If we're asking you for the location of the app on some screen, we're asking you for that so that we can give you more localized content. We can show you people from that area. We can show you people from that city. If we're asking you for camera access, we're asking that so that you can record a video in case you want to do a video pool. So we're extremely user friendly. We have built the product keeping ourselves in mind, and anything that we would not like to be done to us has not been done on the app. We are consumers of internet products ourselves. We have a good moral compass. We would never ever do something that would annoy a user for the company to be generating revenues, right? So we have that in mind.
Is it possible then to have two Koo accounts with the same phone number? Because I noticed, like, when I signed up on the app, it asked me for a phone number. Now, if I sign up with another account on the same phone number, will it allow that?
It will allow you to have another account on the same phone, but you will need another phone number or an email ID.
The big problem that Facebook, Twitter, and all the very large social networking sites have had is fake news. You've seen the kind of controversies around fake news. How do you plan to really dig out fake news from your platform? What do you have in place for that?
Yeah, I think that this is one of those topics which fall in the gray area. I think that a lot of policies are yet to be put in place as far as social media is concerned, because it's unlike publishers. This is not curated content, right? And platforms. If this was a very simple question, we wouldn't be discussing it.
Yeah,
we would have had answers for it, right? The global platforms would have had answers for it. But you're seeing CEOs of the topmost companies in the world being asked these questions, and there's no clarity because there aren't great policies around it, right? We're dealing with social media, which means we're dealing with a space where people have the freedom to express themselves, and there will be some unscrupulous elements which will plug in some sort of fake news into the platform, waiting for it to explode, right? Having said that, there are technologies that are available. There are service providers that are now going back to the source of the news and trying to figure out where this came from, right? I think another very important topic is that of validating the authenticity of an account, right? we're able to do a lot of these things online because I don't know who you are. You have no idea who I am, which is why I'm able to troll you, which is why I'm able to get behind a mask and say whatever it is that I want. I don't see that happening in the offline world very often. That's because I know who you are.
And how do you plan to address privacy concerns, which was again something that came up in the last couple
I'm
of
happy to clarify that. I think what was spoken of was basically about someone displaying information that they wanted to display to a user. Let's take that as an example, right? Let's understand that with an example. I'm saying my name is Mayank. I'm a male. I'm married. I was born on 10th of Jan 1981. Here is my Facebook link. Here's my LinkedIn. Here's my Twitter. And here's my email ID in case you want to reach out to me. And I'm giving it to you.
Yeah, it's all voluntary, you're saying. That was voluntary information.
According to you? That's not a data breach. That is me deciding to share that information with you. And this is optional information that is available. Some of these things are still under product development, which is why some of this profile information we have not developed it. We haven't opened it up on the web, right? Because we're a very, very young company. We're a very young startup, which has close to 40 people working in the team, as opposed to Twitter, which has 4,000 plus employees. And we try to achieve something within 8 months, as opposed to doing something in 15 years. If you get that perspective, you will understand that Rome wasn't built in a day, and so was Coup, right? So there's been no data breach. I would like to see that data breach if it's happened, but it hasn't, right? It's what's basically happened is that someone's tried to talk about something and it's just blown out of proportion. Why? Because like Aprameya said, you're doing well, you're going against a large wave. There are enough people on the other side waiting to drag you down. And, that's sort of what that has been.
So we're actually such a young startup, and this is almost like a reality show, right? Like we're building a startup. It's 10 months old. We're building, and we have everybody watching. It's quite exciting. But what we would like is for everybody to join us. Here's an opportunity for India to build a startup together. If you've never built a startup before, please come. As in, we're saying, come join us. Let's build this together. This is our story.
That's an interesting perspective, and you also have all the ministries and celebrities who are on the platform. So I think, what element of luck did you really have in this whole journey, Aprameya, if I had to ask you?
In Taxi for Sure, our registered company name was Serendipity Infolabs.
Okay.
As in, I would have used the same name here, but you can't, right? So, but serendipity is what we believe in, right? In life, you keep working hard. You keep working hard because you never know when stars align.
Yeah.
Right? Lots of us actually take a lot of credit for everything that we do. But I think serendipity plays a big role in making people or breaking people, right? All I can say is that, we were doing the right things with the right intent, and, opportunities fell in our lap, right? Somebody else does something. How can you predict, right? How do you predict that, there will be a tussle between the Indian government and Twitter? You can't. You just can't. These are things that have happened, and we're truly lucky to be here. And our only job is to make sure that we can, build this Indian story of being self-reliant, even in the digital space. Right? I think that's the opportunity, and we really truly hope that there are at least 100 more companies that come, not just replace global giants, but also build unique stories for India. Right? We have the potential to actually build unique social networks for India as well.
Yeah. Great. And I think the timing also has just been perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, those were the co-founders of Coup, if I may use that phrase. And I think it's been great speaking to you, both of you. Thank you so much for talking to Financial Express.
Thank you so much.